Hello, everyone. My name is Rasmus Productions, and welcome to a Christmassy talk with the sort of sub-series of a talk with in which I bring back on guests that have already been on the show to discuss festivities and all that. And I'm here with the wonderful James Sutton in his brilliant Christmas jumper. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm James Sutton. I've already been on here for two parts, unfortunately
Yeah.
for all of you. Um, but I'm back again, part three. Let's go. It's a trilogy.
I
So
should
yeah,
call
no,
this part three, actually. That's what I should do. Hopefully
the
it won't go like
sequel.
most trilogies where the
Yeah,
third film is commonly regarded as not the best one, but hopefully we can
hmm
break that cycle. So,
we'll give it a go.
how are you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just vibing at the moment. Obviously, it's Christmas, so it is cold. So I've been feeling the chill, but the heating has just kicked in. So we will enjoy that for all of the next 10 minutes until that goes off again to save money.
Yeah, cost of living crisis and all that. Yeah, and how's your Christmas been going so far?
It's been going good. I went shopping on Black Friday to get Christmas presents and stuff. So we went round all the shops.
Mm.
And then um, other than that, I was subjected to watching several terrible Christmas movies on Netflix,
Ah,
of which I secretly have a guilty pleasure of those things.
oh
But
yes, yeah.
I was watching them and I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna fall in love with his wedding planner. Of course.
Who could have seen
Ah,
that coming? I
and then you're
mean,
like, oh wait, it's a single dad with a kid that needs a new mum, and she's just a poor, helpless. She's forgotten her memory or something, and she's a rich girl. It was with Lindsay Lohan. I can't remember what it was really about other than that.
I mean, it rings a bell because it's probably every Christmas movie ever.
It
Um,
is. It is every Christmas. We watched one after that where it was a little girl needed a new stepmother, and then they had a princess, and it just changed the job title of which female is going to be in here and insert which female celebrity is going to play the main role. It's
yeah.
it's pretty chop and I don't know why we've ended up on this topic, but that's what I've been doing. I've been
But
watching
it's a good
terrible
topic.
Christmas movies. Literally just before I came on here, actually, I was watching the Christmas Wedding Planner, which I'm not going to
Ah,
plug, but I haven't
yeah.
finished it yet. I don't know how it ends yet, but I imagine she's going to get with the guy she's been talking to for the entire movie, but not actually wanting to get with because she's like, I don't like you, but then she secretly does like him.
I really want it to like subvert your expectations and go another way now. I want it to.
There is the Vanessa Hudgens Princess Switch. That is the only one that I've ever sat down and gone, I have absolutely no clue where this one's going. They did a trilogy of those, and the last one is a spy movie or something. Like, yeah, completely left field. I was like,
That's,
fair play, fair play. This is the only one that I've sat down and gone, what?
I mean, what's your favorite Christmas movie? That's a question.
Ooh, see, there's the traditional answer of some sort of actual Christmas movie, and then there's like Die Hard. Um,
Mm,
my favorite Christmas movie. Oh, there will be one. I like The Holiday. With Kate Winslet and Jack Black and Jude Law and Cameron Diaz and everything. That's a really good one. Muppets Christmas Carol, of course, is a classic. Uh,
oh
the
yes.
Grinch who stole Christmas. We've got the Grinch on top of the tree. Actually, he's up there.
Oh, well, that's brilliant.
He's clinging off the tree, trying to nick it. We do have Bruce Willis actually. There's the Christmas Bruce Willis who lives in this little air duct where he's crawling through.
Oh,
Um,
that's amazing.
our
That's
Christmas tree
brilliant.
is a real sort of
It's
uh,
it's
there you
cool.
go.
Yeah, it's very cool. I met
Yeah,
someone the other day who hadn't watched The Grinch, which was
really.
I've
Dad.
when being in this recently I've just met like tons of people who haven't seen films like
Yeah,
that
no,
haven't
I've been
seen
recently
films.
having that. I was like, how on earth have you not seen any
Yeah,
of these things?
I met someone the other day who hadn't watched Star Wars, any of them, or Back to the Future, or Jurassic Park, or like any of those
No,
films.
my brother's girlfriend, exactly the same. Seen nothing. We just sit there and she just stares blankly as we tell her references and stuff. And I'm like, how? Like, how do you, how? Like, you must have seen something at some point. Nothing.
Yeah.
Mm.
In terms of favorite Christmas films, I feel like Muppets Christmas Carol for me, definitely. I mean, I love Elf. Elf is great.
Yeah.
Home Alone,
There's one I'm
brilliant.
probably missing. There's one that's probably right there that I should have said. And I,
Polar Express.
It's a good one.
Uh, yeah, and I know quite a few of them are coming back to my local cinema. I know Muppets Christmas Carol is in
Mhm.
cinema, which I am definitely going to see.
Muppets Christmas Carol is amazing. I was in Florida recently, and they have the Muppets 4D show there, and I had to drag
Mm.
along my party with me to go see that. And but it is just, I just love all of the Muppets stuff. Basically, I mean, who's your favorite Muppet?
Oh, I'm probably going to go with. I love Kermit, of course, he's like the main one, but if excluding Kermit,
Mhm.
probably I like Fozzie Bear or Gonzo. I've one of those two. I like Gonzo or like yeah, I like Gonzo.
Gonzo's up. There's Gonzo and Rizzo were as the two from my childhood that I really love because I liked Muppets Treasure
Well,
Island and
yeah.
everything. But I think it's got to be Statler and Waldorf.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a
You know that I
yeah.
find them hilarious. I mean, in the Muppets 4D show in Florida, there's a point where the audience gets like water sprayed on them, and they
Mm.
go and then they're sat there going, "Hang on, they're trying to drown the audience. What kind of act is this? An act of mercy." Oh, I'm just like that's excellent like delivery. It's just I'm like yeah, that's me because I've got this mate, me and him sort of every time we're walking around conventions and stuff, we'll just be cracker jokes and stuff, and we'll be sitting there going, "Oh," I'm like, right, okay, I've become a muppet in my old age. Um, but it was actually, am I man or am I a
My
muppet?
man or no, I watched that film in the cinema actually. I think that Muppet movie.
I
I
did,
also
yeah.
watched I watched a sequel as well actually.
I mean, it was.
Mm.
I think there comes a point in your life when you get to the age of where you realize that a Muppet film or any of those kind of films is like an institution. Like you have to go and
Mm.
see them because otherwise, that's you get into a point in your life and you go, okay, this is the Muppet movie that's coming out. Same with the Star Wars movies that came out and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. It's an event in our lives you must go to.
Funny enough, I didn't see any of the sequels in cinema. I wanted to, but lost track of time when it
Oh,
comes to Star Wars. Um,
oh,
yeah, I watched them on Disney Plus because I just lost track, really.
fair enough.
But
Fair
I'll
enough.
definitely be going to see the Muppets Christmas Carol again in the cinema because
Hmm.
that's, one of the greatest Christmas films of all time and one of the most enjoyable films in general. But going to Doctor Who,
Yes.
to
Oh,
be
good. Yeah,
fair,
that show.
that show, to be fair, that is one of the most Christmassy conversations I've had on this Christmassy talk with
I
because.
see. I see. Well, I was trying to steer it towards Christmas. I thought.
Yeah. Abby's not that into Christmas, although we did have quite a few Christmassy chats, which is lovely. And Jack, few Christmas chats, and Eamon, few Christmas chats, but that is probably the most Christmassy
I
this show's
see. Well,
given.
I brought my A
I
game.
think I think that
I mean, this
definitely
is this is a
helps.
Doctor Who Christmas jumper technically. So like David Tennant wore this jumper to I think it was the Harry Potter Warner Brothers studio tour thing. And he,
Mm.
he went along for like a winter event and he took a bunch of pictures in this. And then like I think we found like one fan found it on ASOS and it went into the sale for £10 and I went, I don't own a Christmas jumper. I will buy this. So this is my only Christmas jumper, which gets brought out once a year, every year.
To
But
be
I thought I would.
honest, that origin story does not surprise me, considering
No, not
the
at all.
sheer
This is
amount
this
of
is technically a
everything you
cosplay.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you have any Christmas spaced props from Doctor Who or any like Christmas episode
Ooh,
type things?
Christmas-based props. I'm trying to think. All my props are downstairs. I've moved upstairs. I did bring some of the props with me, so I've got a bubble shock because I know you're
Mm,
fond of the bubble shock.
I love the bubble shop.
Screwdriver and that. I'm trying to think anything Christmas based. I do have ones from the Christmas episode. So, for instance, I've got screen used money from the Runaway Bride, the
Oh yes,
fake
yeah.
£10 notes and £20 notes that come out of the ATM when David Tennant sonics it. Where,
Mm.
hang on, I brought props when he sonics it. And then I've got well, when we did the psychic papers for Roboto replicas, one of the psychic paper inserts is the wavy lines, which are
Ah,
obviously when he goes,
when
"I'm universally recognised as a mature and responsible
responsible
adult,"
adult.
and he goes, "That's just a lot of wavy lines." Oh, short circuited. Finally, a lie too big. I do have the lash up phone as well, so the little thing Matt Smith holds up to his ear,
Mm.
and I've got the shark eating Sonic from Christmas Carol. So I've got quite a few of the little sort of bits and pieces. I've been on the hunt for the baubles that like
Oh
explode
yeah,
from Runaway
yeah.
Bride as well. Um, there's a lot of good ones that I'd like to hunt down eventually. I've got the hat and lei that David Tennant comes out wearing in End of Time Part One when he goes, "I parked it like a car." Mm.
Yeah.
All the time, making a good laugh.
Mm.
Um,
Mm. I
uh, That's probably there are more. I could keep going, but it would just be an endless list of Christmas episodes. I have lots of things. Um,
Mm.
I recently got the David Bradley TARDIS set, of course, which is
Oh,
to do
yes.
with Christmas technically. Well,
Twice Upon
it's
a
actually the
Time,
Adventure in
technically.
Space and Time
Yeah.
set, but it's being marketed as a Twice Upon a Time set, but it's not him in that outfit or that TARDIS. So
Yeah.
lies.
Yeah. I mean, talking of Christmas episodes actually, because I only realized I
Mhm.
could ask this question when I was speaking to Eamon, which was the third one, was it? It
Mhm.
was oh no, second one actually. Ag was third one, sorry. It was like, what's your favorite Christmas special? Because I should have asked that to
Ooh,
Jack already, but
it's obviously the Feast of Stephen.
yes, of course. The one
A
where
classic. Some
the
no, has anyone said that one yet?
no, nobody said that one yet.
um, my actual answer, to be honest, I do love A Christmas Carol, but I think that's just because I like the story of A Christmas Carol, which of course goes back to A Muppet's Christmas Carol and everything. So I feel like that's slightly a cop out for saying that. I could say The Unquiet Dead, which is again in the same vein of being Charles Dickens and is technically not a Christmas special, but is the Ninth Doctor's unofficial Christmas special. It's a ghost story at Christmas with Charles Dickens, and the Ninth Doctor is his only one he's getting. Um, but I think it's probably going to be a Tenant one. I'll be honest. I'm
That's
fairly
fair.
basic. I do like Voyage of the Damned. I think Voyage of the Damned is really
Ooh,
good. I like the
definitely.
Next Doctor. I'm just going to say every Tenant one at this rate. I'm gonna settle on. I think the Runaway Bride is my favorite one. I think that one's there's a lot of good laughs in that one. I remember
Mm.
sitting down fondly to watch that one at Christmas, um, and sort of all the fun bits on segways and pockets and all that kind of thing. I'm in
Yeah.
my wedding dress. Yes, you look lovely. Now come on. All of that. It's just excellent dialogue and stuff. It's just like an axe is an axe and a spider is just get a lance, and it's just like stupid. It's all dumb, but I really love that
Oh,
one.
I fucking love it. It's like all of the jokes here, Catherine and David, they just work together. No wonder
Mm,
they brought it back. And but I'd have to say Voyage. If I was picking out the Tenant ones, Voyage
mhm.
just I've got so much nostalgia to it, but it also works. Looking past the nostalgia, it's
I,
just a fucking
I think the
amazing
reason
episode.
for Voyage for me is an amazing episode, but I
Mm,
feel like there's a level of I really enjoy Robots of Death for the same reason, and so I'm like
mm,
they just kind of went Robots of Death at Christmas on the Titanic in space, which is a lot of factors to add into the Robots of Death story. But technically speaking, if you change the sand miner to
mm,
the ship, it's still very much the same that people are being hunted down by the robots throughout the thing because one evil guy wants to change things, and so. But I really do enjoy it. And I'm not. That's not criticism. I think it's a very excellent episode. But I feel like for me, that was at a point where Doctor Who became like a bigger show than it was. Like I feel like the point
mm.
between series 3 and 4 was the tipping point between when it like reached the peak of its like height and everything. And so
Yeah.
I feel like that one had got more sort of like bigger. But I think the other reason is because there was no sort of Donna is a companion who we meet again, whereas in that episode you don't really have a companion you meet again. So I don't get as attached to the characters. They're just there for that one episode and I don't see
Mm.
them again. Whereas knowing that sets up Donna later on, it felt much sort of nicer that all of these characters you see there will become so familiar later on and everything. Sylvia and Neris,
Ah, good old
um,
Neris.
and all that kind of stuff. Um,
Yeah.
Good old
I
Neris.
good
I'm in
old Neris.
Peach.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's it. I think Christmas Invasion was so proto. Like it's good, but it's also having to set up the Doctor in that one story, and it's less about Christmas. It's just set at Christmas. Like the Santa. If you took away the robot Santas and the fact it was set at Christmas, nothing to do with Christmas. Whereas at least this one again doesn't have much to do with Christmas, but there's the robot Santas again are now the main villains in the story rather than just being there because the Sycorax are the main villains of the Christmas Invasion. I know the Rachnos are, but she's hidden behind the robot Santas for most of it, and the whole
mm,
Santa's a robot and all that kind of stuff, and the baubles and so on. But I think again with Voyage of the Damned though, there's not much Christmas in it again, and I think that's why it doesn't
yeah.
work for me as a Christmas special. That's the criteria I'm working on again with End of Time Part One. Barely anything to do with actual Christmas. It's just
Mm.
set at Christmas time.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm picky.
I think the most Christmassy Tenant one was the Next Doctor. I think,
That was very Christmassy
I
because
mean,
snow,
Victorian
Cybermen,
times,
Victorian times.
a very
I love that
Dickensian
story.
kind of plot there with like Jackson Lake.
Mhm.
Um,
Just David Morrissey and David Tennant have such great. I mean, they were in Blackpool together, the TV series, not the place. Well, in the place and the series. And it's brilliant their chemistry in that. So it was amazing to see them then get to reunite and be, the Doctors together because it's
mm,
just good fun. And I love the whole kind of bit where he's just like, what's that? It's a Sonic. It's it's like that's just a screwdriver.
mm.
Yeah, well, mate,
That's actually the
that's
next
Sonic.
one on my watch with my friends. Well, I'm
Oh
introducing to
yeah.
the show. We've finished series 4 now. We've got series
Mhm.
2 of the Sarah Jane Adventures and series 3.
Mhm.
Which I'm
Now, are
just
you
thinking.
watching them on iPlayer or are you watching them on the DVD where they haven't cut out
I
scenes
was
or
watching.
removed episodes?
I was watching it on DVDs, but then I realized I was missing the one with the first two series 2 episodes. So I'm watching
Oh
them on
yeah.
iPlayer and then going back to the DVDs because I don't want to get anything cut or anything. And I want to watch Curse of Clyde Langer, which I think
Right,
is one of
completely
the best
gone.
ones.
It is one of the best. I mean,
Mm,
that whole story with the homeless girl and everything, it's so like beautiful.
Apparently, apparently they cut it because apparently it negatively portrays homeless people,
I
which is
see.
so fucking odd because that makes
The
no
whole
sense.
story was about, wasn't it?
Ha-
I thought the whole story was about them
It's
like
like
being humanized rather than because you follow them
pretty
rather than it being
much.
about anyone else. It's Clyde learns what their life is like.
Yeah, it's like it's deconstructing the prejudice that people have against them and
Yeah, it shows them as
outcasts.
people.
Exactly. So the fact that they've decided to fully re-edit that one is,
Mm,
I mean, I could understand it if their qualms of it were like the totem pole or something, or like
hmm.
the idea of that. But
Yeah.
also, that's like every adventure movie ever. Not
Hmm.
well, quite a few of them. So, anyways, back to Christmas. Back to
Back to
Christmas. And
Christmas.
well, actually, my next question is not really Christmas related, but
I
it's like a
see.
broad sense in a way. It's like,
Hmm.
well, not a broad church, but a broad sense. It's what does Doctor Who mean to you?
Ooh. Um, Financial ruin sometimes. Uh,
To be honest, that's
it
probably the most accurate answer to that question I've ever been given.
yeah, it's a lot of buying things because I'm like I love you, Doctor Who. Um, Doctor Who is interesting for me. I'm trying to think what it means to me though. I mean, it's just comfort. It's been there all my life. I think there was an element of the fact that my father is quite a sort of sort of cold. He's not cold. He's just logical, and he wasn't
Mm,
very like affectionate with us as children. Not in a bad way or anything like that. He's just
yeah.
probably on the spectrum quite highly. So he's getting more sort of better at it nowadays, actually. But back then, it was very hard to get any sort of affection or anything from him from that standpoint. And so the one thing we kind of had was our connection over watching Doctor Who
Yeah.
and other sci-fi related materials and so on. So I kind of threw myself into that because he was also away for like 3 nights a week every week at his job. So I wouldn't see him all that often. And so I would sort of watch Doctor Who because that's what we would do together. And we kind of would talk about it and relate to it. And that gave us some sort of common ground. So it was kind of it was a comfort, but it was also kind of like to make up for the fact that I didn't have him around most of the time because obviously that's
Mm,
probably where the sort of surrogate doctor became my father in a weird way. Not actually, but that's kind of how it feels sometimes when you watch the show. It feels like this is a familiar character that you're letting into your life, and he's kind of always been there. Obviously, he's not real, but sometimes they don't need to be real. They can be that.
yeah.
So Doctor Who kind of means comfort to me. Basically, it feels that it's something familiar. It's something that you can almost trace back. I mean, you can trace back for many generations, like the fact that you can think from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now the 2020s. There is always a Doctor Who for someone throughout all of those, and it's a different person for all of them. And sometimes it's every one of them. I mean, for me, I couldn't. I was trying to do this the other day. Someone posted on Facebook, I think maybe, or something like that, or Twitter, list when you met each doctor or something like that. And it was basically a list. I think Will Brooks shared it or something. It's effectively a list though of put the year you first watched this doctor and you work out that you watch
Oh.
things in the wrong order. Yeah. So like for instance, like I saw a VHS tape, which I think we spoke about last time from 2004, where on that VHS tape though, there was the first doctor, the second doctor, the third doctor, just those three. And so I watched all of them first, and then I met Eccleston and Tennant in 2005, and it's whenever I got the DVDs. And it was a fascinating thing to think about, the fact that, technically speaking, I probably was introduced to all the wrong Doctors in the wrong order and everything. I had
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, then 9, 10, and then 4, and then I think 5, and then it would have been 6 and 7, and then 8, maybe even 8 before 7. It was all over the shop basically. But it's fascinating to think that there's so many different Doctors out there, and it's not necessarily a case of you would see them even in the right order. You just kind of meet them. I guess it's kind of like the time travel in the show with River and everything, where she doesn't meet them necessarily in the right order. You just meet the Doctor, and it's the Doctor, and that's who you're with that time. I don't know, I feel like I lost the question a little while ago.
No, you pretty much summed it up.
Yeah. It's just that, it's just escapism, it's funny, it's comfort, it's all sorts of things. And I think because as well, I think it's interesting to me because every episode's different. Like there are, most of the time every other episode will be in a different place, a different planet or whatever, and it's a case of it's always interesting and developing and evolving. And that's the case of, again, from all the way from the 60s, it's evolved so much, and it's an ever-changing sort of, it's almost alive, that show, in comparison to other shows which sort of have like a few years maybe, and then they fizzle out, or they're sort of vaguely the same sort of
They
stuff.
have an expiry date and so forth.
There is no show, I mean, like, you can argue like Star Trek, for instance, but Star Trek only lasted like 3 seasons, and then they got a new one in, and they made a spin-off of it, or an offshoot. But Doctor Who is still the same show, basically. I mean, obviously it paused a little bit in the middle, and they've tried different things and stuff, but at the end of the day, it is still, it's Trigger's broom, but it is still the same show.
I'd argue that's why, like, most Doctor Who fans like shows like Red Dwarf. Of course, it's not the same kind of logic there, but it's sort of, it's similar at least, because Red Dwarf did start quite a bit later.
It was a lot of the same. I mean, it also started at the right point that Doctor Who went off air, and Red Dwarf became a sort of surrogate, it feels like, because that was on through the 90s and stuff, wasn't it? Which is when, Doctor Who wasn't on. And so, but a lot of the team moved over to that, like Mike Tucker and all the lot from the model unit went and worked on Red Dwarf, and that's why there's some TARDISes hidden in some little miniature shots and stuff like that. And it still felt like it, because all the people who would have worked on Doctor Who were making that set and everything, and it felt like that kind of vibe. Like, it could have been a spin-off, this could have been going on somewhere in the Doctor Who universe, and we just wouldn't know. Same with Blake Seven and stuff like that. It's all, they're all shared DNA.
It's incredible. But I do feel like Doctor Who stands out, as you said, as the one that's,
it's the only thing. I mean, it's interesting to see it on Disney Plus now, because, to be honest, Doctor Who's been the only thing that we're producing over here. I mean, no, not the only thing, but one of the bigger things that could compete with something like Star Wars and stuff. Like, you think Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who are the kind of, like, I think of them, at least. It's obviously like Babylon 5 and a bunch of other sci-fi shows like that. But I would sit here and go, if I could think of anything being produced in the UK right now that could go on Disney Plus to, compete against all of the big giants in America, it's Doctor Who, because it's been going on for so long. It's such an institution and everything, and obviously they're doing that now. But that's what I think is impressive about it, because it's been going so long. It's still evolving, and it's even going to have a new lifespan now, where it will reach newer audiences out there, even later.
I mean, it's fascinating to think about. But moving back to Christmas, of course, is like, I want to ask you more about sort of a similar question, but it's like memories you have with Doctor Who at specifically like Christmas time, growing up and now, and
okay.
Just what general memories you have, like stories linked to the show.
Christmas, I have lots of Doctor Who memories, because effectively we would or every year I would give my sort of parents a list of things, and it used to be so long ago that I would have VHSs on the list and be like, could you get me these VHS tapes? And so I got quite a few VHS tapes for Christmas and stuff, of like various ones, like Robots of Death and what else was there? Terror of the Zygons and stuff like that. And it would be Target novelizations. So back in the early days, I was collecting all the Target novels. I have most of them now, I think. And so it will be a mixture of books, Target novels, action figures, and so on. And I remember distinctly one Christmas, I got given a pair of socks by my uncle, and both my brothers got given flight control Tennant TARDISes. And I went, I don't have one of those. Why on God's earth was I given socks and the I'm the Doctor Who fan? So that's one of my. I'm trying to remember like good ones, but that's the first thing that came in my head was just like, oh yeah, my uncle completely. How? But yeah, there was. I remember one time I got given. I think it was a bunch of Dalek stories. I wanted to listen. I wanted to watch all the Dalek stories, so I went up to. I remember having the. This must have been 2010. So I would have been 11 at that point. I remember getting the flight control Matt Smith TARDIS finally. I was finally given one. I went up and put Revelation of the Revelation of the Daleks on, and sat and watched that in awe whilst eating a sort of a bowl of the sort of jazzles, maybe they're called. They're like the chocolate with all the sprinkles in.
No idea.
They're someone will know. They're flat chocolates, usually white or milk chocolate, and they've got like multicolored sprinkles in like balls, and they're like a flat sort of plate of chocolate with the balls all over.
Wait. Oh my God, I think I know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, and they crumble in your hand, and you can like and you get like all the little bits. They're people. Someone sat there going, I know exactly what he's doing. And so I had a bunch of them, and I was just sat there like eating them. And I got to the point where I felt like sick because I'd eaten all of them and my Terry's chocolate orange and a bunch of other stuff whilst playing with this TARDIS. So I remember sitting around doing that most Christmases. Most Christmases would be I would get my stuff, go off to my room, put together a Lego set or something I got whilst watching the next Doctor Who DVD, and that's how I kind of ended up watching a lot of all of them basically that I would gradually get given them each year and kind of absorb them. I'm trying to think if there's anything like interesting at Christmas that happened because like a lot of the stuff that I used to do at Christmas wouldn't be to do with I would watch the Doctor Who episode, but I was never a child that would like go out to like the Blackpool exhibition or anything like that. I went in 2010 to the Cardiff Red Dragon Centre one. But before that, it was kind of a foreign concept to me for the fact I didn't realize. Nowadays I'm starting going, what was I doing when people were at the Albert Hall watching Doctor Who proms? What the hell was I busy doing? I didn't do any of that. So there's no interesting stories like that. It's just I would sit down and watch the Christmas special and then go and play with my toys. I think there was one Christmas though. I mean, later on in life, obviously, Doctor Who became more prevalent at Christmas. I remember being in Florida one year we were in Disney World at Christmas because we have family out there, so sometimes we go out there and we would see these family and stuff. And so we were around their house, and I remember everyone. I remember watching. We were sat by a pool watching. I think it was Husbands of River Song, maybe, or Return of Doctor Mysterious. One of those two. And we were watching that, and I was just like, "This is very old to be sat on the other side of the world watching." Doctor Who in 30-degree temperatures whilst it's a Christmas special. But I also went around Disney dressed as Doctor Who. I just got the suit as a costume and I went,
you were foreshadowing.
I'm going to walk around here. And I walked around Disney dressed as David Tennant, and I had people take pictures of me and stuff. I had people stop to take pictures of me, and got a bunch of Christmassy ones dressed as him. I think I can think of genuinely nothing interesting that's ever happened to me at Christmas to do with Doctor Who.
That was all very interesting. I'll say that. I mean, recently in Florida, didn't you get caught in a hurricane or something like that?
I did. Yeah, we went over, and I got caught in Hurricane Ian. Not to be confused with the person who found the missing episodes or anything like that. It was a different Ian.
I was going to go for like Ian Chesterton, but
I went with Ian Levine.
To be fair, if anyone was to be a hurricane, it'd be Ian Levine.
I mean, he's a force of nature. I mean, obviously, but it was basically we were there, and then suddenly it was like raining every single day. It was warm. It was really warm and humid, but it was raining. And then all of a sudden they were like, yeah, so there's a hurricane going right at you. And I was like, oh, good. So we were in the hotel and the windows were like they looked like they were going to burst, basically. They were like going in and out and bowing and everything. And it sounded a bit like that. And effectively the windows were doing that and everything. And if you had your head against the headboard in the hotel, you could feel the building moving. It was mental because the buildings are meant to move a little bit to sort of combat the hurricane thing, so they don't just like get destroyed. And then downstairs started to flood. And basically, all the parks closed and everything. You couldn't go out to the parks, and everyone was advised to not drive or anything. So we were all sitting inside the hotel, and there was loads of people in the hotel and everything. It was a sort of weird, almost like the Titanic happening, basically, because downstairs is flooding. We're all sort of, the music, the band is playing. Gru is walking around for some reason, and then everyone's just trying to find something to do whilst the emergency is kind of over. After that, though, completely sunny. Annoyingly, though, the weekend the hurricane hit, Artemis 1 was supposed to launch the new the first mission back to the moon since 1972 or 3, or one of those ones, maybe 71, since Apollo, I think, 17. And so it was meant to launch. So when we went to Kennedy just before the hurricane hit, we saw it on the launch pad and everything. I was like, wow, it's really impressive, massive rocket, orange with white on the top and everything. And so that launched the other day, which I watched on the live stream and everything. But that was a shame that I didn't get to see that. And after that, though, a lot of things did close. So some of our holiday was a little bit affected by it because like some of the rides got damaged during the storm. We went to go to a place called Gatorland, which was then like completely submerged basically because of all the rainwater and stuff. But we survived. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
It was interesting to experience a natural disaster.
I mean, it's not going to be not interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
You're alive. That's the main thing.
I'm alive for now.
Yeah.
And I don't know, could come back and get us. I've seen Day After Tomorrow, or Twister. There's Twister where they're being chased by a storm that growls at people and picks up cows.
Oh. Huh.
You ever seen that movie?
No, not seen it. I mean,
this was Kiefer Sutherland. No, maybe. Oh, I can't remember. Maybe it is him. Can't remember. It's with someone like that.
Yeah.
Someone's in the comments screaming at me. I may have got it right. I don't know. But yeah, no, it was interesting. Nothing to do with Christmas though. It was actually Halloween at that point.
And we're back. This is the only one of these, as I mentioned when we weren't on the Zoom call, where I've had to split this into 2 parts. Well, not the video itself, but the Zoom call.
Not yet.
Not yet. Well,
Night's young. I did this last time to you. I'm so sorry. I can talk for England.
It's all good. It's all good. So my next question that I intend to ask is mainly just a reflection on what's happened this year. So like, what's your kind of achievements from this year, whether they be Doctor Who related or anything really?
Ooh, I mean, obviously, Legend of the Sea Devils. I got to work on Doctor Who, so that was probably one of the bigger ones. Got to keep on working on Time Fracture, which was really a really cool thing. And obviously Time Fracture ended. Worlds of Wonder, the exhibition that's been going around, it's got one of the Sea Devils in that.
Yes.
Was done at Robert Alsop and Associates, so it's cool to see something that I was a part of on display in a museum, like all of my sort of childhood moments. So that was quite exciting to see those. We got to do psychic papers for Roboto Replicas. So my company, Little Shop Props, who we do replicas of different Doctor Who props and so on. We did these lovely little black wallet things, and then they got picked up by Roboto Replicas, who have the license to make Doctor Who prop replicas and stuff, to do full ones. So we've been doing them, and there's a bunch going out for Christmas. If you order them now on Roboto Replicas, you get a free set of Cyberman coasters or Cyberman mats.
I will put that in the description below.
Do it. I mean, it's good. It's a good little stocking filler. Some of them will be going out. We've also just Roboto Replicas just posted as well that if anyone would be interested, that we were looking at doing these lovely screwdrivers as a run of screwdrivers, basically 9th and 10th Doctor ones, which is cool to be part of, because obviously when I was little, the first Doctor Who thing I really ever was given was the 9th and 10th Doctor screwdriver, which I have sort of in a box still downstairs, proudly display. And it's quite full circle to then be possibly working on these. So it's been a very busy year of doing things. We also gave David Tennant a screwdriver at Comic-Con.
Yes, I was going to mention you met David Tennant and Matt Smith, right? Or was it just David Tennant?
I met David Tennant that day, Jodie Whittaker twice, and then Sylvester McCoy.
Of course, the legend himself.
Were you there for that one when you were texting me on your laptop?
Yes, I was. Because
Rory here, like some sort of psychopath, was walking around Comic Con holding his laptop because his phone had died, and he was like texting people on Discord.
no, I didn't have a phone. That's why I brought my laptop because I
Uh,
needed to use it for tickets. Because I didn't have a phone or anything like that. Well, I did have a phone, I just didn't have a SIM card, so I couldn't really do anything with it.
right,
So
okay.
that was yeah. So I was walking around Comic Con with a laptop, which is the second time that's happened this year. For the
Get a
same
SIM card,
reason.
man,
I
or
have
just
I
print them
have
out.
now. I have now.
And
I
yeah, I
got
met Ty
Prince.
Tennant as well, David
Yes.
Tennant's son. And then I met Sylvester McCoy and then Katie Manning, and we gave Katie Manning one of our blue crystals as well, and she was a delight. She was just like
I
I
mean,
was.
of course, it's Katie Manning.
She
Of
was
course,
like,
she was a delight.
oh, it's like the one the doctor gave me, but I didn't get to keep mine. And I was just like, oh, you can keep this one if you want. She went, what, really? For me? And I was like, yes. And she's like, oh, thank you. And then they were like, get out of the line. Stop. There's a queue, goddammit, man.
Mhm.
So
I mean, Katie
uh,
was very busy that day. Like the queue
she was.
was.
I mean, it was the first, well, one of them at least, first ones since Power of the Doctor came out, and she was in that.
Mm,
Her and
yeah.
Janet and Bonnie Langford apparently were all very busy all day.
Mm.
Although I think I slightly annoyed Bonnie Langford at the end of the day. Effectively, we were outside the venue, me and my mates walking back, and I was talking to one of my mates. And we were kind of walking. I mean, it was a narrow path, so we're walking down the path, sort of shoulder to shoulder and everything. And my other mates who were behind me, Bonnie Langford and her security guard, came up and walked past us. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, Bonnie Langford's walked past. What I didn't know was the fact that Bonnie Langford had been trying to get past me for about 2 minutes or so, and I hadn't heard it because I was talking to my mate, but she had gone, "Excuse me, would you move?" and everything, and it got to the point where she said, "Oh God," and then sort of pushed past, and I was like, "Oh, Bonnie Langford," and then my mates are going, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's just done that." So sorry, Bonnie Langford, if you ever see this, I didn't hear you. I would have moved for you. I love you very much. So um, she quite rightly, I was blocking the path and was being very
Mm.
ignorant of me not to listen out for rogue Bonnie Langfords in the streets. I should always be prepared for such an instance to see a former
Oh,
Doctor Who companion.
of course. I mean, that happened to me with Sophie Aldred, actually.
Yeah,
We were exiting LFCC, and I was
same
walking.
convention.
Yeah, same convention. Uh, and I tripped over someone's luggage.
Oh,
It wasn't like a trip, it was like accidental, like, and then they said
you got
sorry, and
up and
then
then she clocked you around the back of the head with a baseball bat.
oh yeah. uh, so, and then yeah, I tripped a bit over her luggage, and then it was a slightly nicer experience than accidentally upsetting Bonnie Langford.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, sorry," and then I recognized the voice, and I look up and it's, "Oh, hello," and it was more like, "Oh, hello, nice to see you again," and it was
Oh my
really.
God, you're Dennis the Menace from the animated Dennis the Menace series from the 2000s. I'm very pleased to see you.
And to be
No,
fair, she's one of the best Dennis the Menaces.
yeah.
Out of personal preference for voice actors, I mean, probably Chris Johnson second. I have a tier list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I tripped over, and then we just had a lovely conversation. Walked over to the
Have you ever
train
got Chris
station.
Johnson on these?
No, I haven't, but I've always been meaning to get in contact because
He's got a TikTok and an Instagram. You should reach out.
yes, and a
I'd love
Twitch,
to hear
doesn't
what
it?
he has to say.
Yeah, because
Probably. Yes, he does.
I know he does do a few podcasts. I know he's quite
I'm derailing the conversation now. Anyway.
oh no, it's all good. But yeah, so Sophie Aldred was like on the other bit of I was on one platform and she went over to the other, and then as her train was coming, she let out the biggest wave, and I
Mhm.
waved back, and that was lovely. So not as not on the same level of accidentally upsetting Bonnie Langford.
I've had nice, like, I've met Bonnie Langford before. She is an angel.
Oh yeah,
I would have
I
been
met her
annoyed.
as well.
I feel like I was walking slowly as well. That was the main thing as well. I slow walkers I can't deal with. So like if was clearly just sort of idly strolling with my mates and she had places to be, I was just like I completely get it. But yeah, no, we gave David Tennant a screwdriver anyway. We handed one over.
Mm.
Annoyingly, the staff though had cracked down on letting people take videos, so all we could get was an audio. We did do a little video of it,
Yeah.
but as in, we put together what we could with the audio and some visuals and stuff, but there wasn't any actual footage. And also, they wouldn't let you anywhere near him without a diamond pass, and we didn't have a diamond pass. So one of our mates, Joseph
Was that
Sorrell,
just yeah, Joseph Swear,
an angel. He very kindly said that he would, after having his moment with David, hand over the prop basically,
yeah.
and so he really saved the day that day. But it was really nice to get the few seconds of audio where he's reacting to it and everything. And then when we saw him later on in the photo shoot, because Joseph had pointed at me and gone, he's the one who did it, basically. And then I went, here, I brought you another one. Would you hold this for me? And he went, yeah. And he was like, I love it, mate. This is great. And I was just there going, thank you. Good. Well, the thing is, like, when he left Doctor Who, he was given one of the props. So he
Yeah.
had two props in Doctor Who. He had the grey and the cream it was the grey Aztec and the wide slider originally. And then it moved through to the tri slider and the grey Aztec. And then it became the cream Robato and the grey Robato. This probably means nothing to you, but that's how we
Oh, no,
define
no,
the
no,
props, basically.
Yeah.
And so when he first became Doctor Who, though, he would have had this one, which is the wide slider. However, the grey Aztec became the grey Robato, which was the one he was given. So out of the two props, he only has a representation of one of them. And so this is the other one he didn't have a representation of. So we
Oh.
wanted to give him one from the very beginning of his time on Doctor Who, when he starts Doctor Who again, basically, was sort of, to welcome him back, and then also sort of give him what he would have had originally. And so, yeah, it was nice. My whole team from Little Shop Props were in on that, and we did that, and it was really, really cool.
Very nice, very nice. I mean, I walked up to him in the photo shoot and said, "Welcome back to Doctor Who, sir," and walked off. And he said, "Thank you." And then I met him later because I had dime pass for autographs and such, which was nice. He's lovely. He's absolutely brilliant. And also, of course, another achievement. Not to interject, of course, but of course, you got Torchwood Rebirth out this year as well.
We did. I completely forgot about that. Yes, we did get Torchwood Rebirth out in June, wasn't it? It genuinely feels like there was a part 1 and a part 2 of this year, much like this video. And so,
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. I mean,
I won't be
Torchwood
Rebirth.
Well. We got Torchwood Rebirth out, which was really nice to be able to finally have a full length story come out with our characters and everything. And we announced on Torchwood's anniversary that we have actually started recording. Episodes 1 and 2 are currently edited and in the can of volume 2, which is called Torchwood Nexus now.
Of course.
And so we're then continuing to work on that and everything. And so that's going to be coming out sometime next year. I don't know when it's been confirmed for, but
yeah, I mean
it will be coming out.
That kind of leans into my penultimate question. Really, is what are you kind of planning for next year? I mean, without spoiling what's to come for your content, of course, and other people's content, because of course you work with Overton and EW 2012 and all that a lot. So what's because like the Last Universe, that's one thing that's coming out.
Last Universe is coming out next year. Yeah, so that is the Doctor Who expansive multiverse. Their channel, which is run by like Emon Longmon and Aidan O'Connor and everyone, the Burgundy Doctor and the Kiwi Doctor and everything. And so that is a 60th anniversary special run by those guys on that channel, which will have a bunch of us popping up. Like you got like Dominic as the Architect, Kenna as the Balor Doctor, and Connor and Chelsea will be in it as Cravat and Julia, and just a bunch of people. Dan and Anya will be in it, and then I'm of course appearing as Fraser Ward, and so that's quite exciting. That'll be out naturally on the 60th anniversary of the show, and so that's a really big one. But alongside that, I don't know what has been announced for the 60th of stuff, but there is 60th stuff going on over at Overton as well. I think I'm allowed to say that at least. But I won't say exactly what's happening. But there's a few cool things that I'm involved with. I think I'm genuinely involved with about 6 different 60th anniversaries at this point, because there's also I don't know if this has been announced, but we're sort of looking at doing something with Instability Productions as well,
of course,
which is where I play the Moonlight Doctor, which is newer. Well, he was called BBC's Doctor Who jokingly, until we settle on calling him the Moonlight Doctor. So effectively, at some point next year, we will be having. I'm hoping to get a mini-sode or something out with that Doctor I play. Out at some point in that year, but obviously I'm mainly focusing on the Torchwood stuff at this time. And DW 2012 wise, I've recorded some other bits for other episodes already, but I don't know when those are coming out. So it's a case of just waiting to see what happens with those, really. But with the
Yeah.
Torchwood stuff, that's definitely coming out next year, and it's going to be really cool and big and everything. So there'll be 4 episodes in that volume.
Mm. I mean, I can say that, of course, we've I haven't announced it yet, but we've
Mhm.
also been discussing some Torchwood Endgame stuff.
We have
Hopefully in
indeed. We
future.
have indeed. I started writing down a few bits for that the other day, actually.
Oh, brilliant! I'll have to have discussions about it
Mm.
after the recording. But yeah. So I have for everyone watching, I have a Torchwood Endgame series planned with. I won't announce who's in the series yet, but of course James is of
Mhm.
course in the series. I mean, he's in every Torchwood fan series because it's
You
James.
can't get
Well,
rid of me.
you can't have Torchwood fan series without James.
Yeah,
And and if he's
that's the
not in your
staple we're
Torchwood
setting.
series, I will put his Twitter in the description. You can hound him. Nah,
Yeah.
don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah. So my final question is usually
Mhm,
puts people on the spot a bit, but do you
mhm.
have a Christmas message for everyone watching at home? And do not do the Hartnell one, because I know
Damn it,
every
that's
single person wants
immediately
to
where
do the
my brain
Hartnell
went.
one,
Um,
and I'm gonna do it on
uh,
like the final one of these. So
I see. I see. Ooh, a Christmas message. Um, Try the bounties. They might be all right. Let's be real. Someone's got to like them eventually. If you can eat the bounty in the thing, then you will live longer because you'll be able to develop that as a survival skill at Christmas. So you'll definitely get chocolate. It's the way I started eating salted popcorn because no one else would eat the salted popcorn because they
yeah,
all like sweet in my family. So I knew that I would get away
I
with eating all the
respect that.
salted popcorn if I did that. So eat bounties because it's a survival trait. Also, let's think. Um, Always ask if they've got the gift receipt. It isn't. No, I'm kidding. I've gone for a very mean spirited one. Effective. Let's think. Let's think. Um, don't be the couple that wears matching pajamas. No one likes it. It's cringy. It's not funny. Stop it. My girlfriend's been trying to convince me to do that. She keeps going, "Oh, we could get matching." No, no, I won't be. If I would sooner die. Um, I'm trying to think of anything else. Try not to work too hard. It's Christmas. Have fun, unless you don't celebrate Christmas, in which case just take the days off. Everyone else is doing it. Just I don't know, watch something else. I don't know really. Live fast, run hard, something. I don't know. And whilst we're on this subject, have a Merry Christmas to all of you at your houses. I don't know. It's a slight take on it.
I mean,
This is
well,
rambling on and on and on. I have no idea what kind of Christmas message you want me to give. Be nice to others. Don't be a dick.
follow the Ten
Don't
Commandments.
Yeah, follow all of them. Thou shalt not complain about thou presents. If your uncle gives you a pair of socks and gives your brothers a TARDIS, why would he do that?
I think we've gone full circle now, and that's the
we've
perfect
gone
place
we've
to
gone
end it.
we've gone full circle. If someone gives you the DVD of Full Circle, watch it later that day. Otherwise, you will forget and you will never understand how Adric joins the TARDIS. Why is he there? What's the star got to do with it? Anyway, we will never know if he was right.
We never will.
How did I finish on Adric? I feel like that's what Peter Davison said actually at the end of the day. Twice they got him to do it twice. Anyway,
Right. Right.
yeah.
And with that, do you have anything to promote? That's one thing. Anything to promote of any sort?
Check out Little Shop Props. We do fun things. There's lots of good. I would say there's lots of good gift ideas. You're not getting them in time for Christmas if you order now. Like, let's be reasonable, people. It's like I used to work at John Lewis, and it's people who would turn up on the 24th of December, being like, "Have you got anything Christmassy?" And we're like, "Sir, it's all gone. Why are you here? It's the 24th of December. Everyone was here at least last week. That was the last reasonable point for you to come in. Now it's too late." Uh, where was I going with that? But yeah,
You were promoting.
Little Shop Props, check them out. We do lots of cool stuff. I've got a YouTube channel called Scarecrow Props where I do videos on props and stuff like that. There'll also maybe be some more sort of Torchwoody stuff on there. I don't know. It's, maybe some behind the scenes things if I get the time. That's no promises made. Check out Overton Audios, of course, where we're doing the Torchwood Nexus series, which will be coming out, and you can watch all the Torchwood Rebirth episodes that are currently out. There's 4 or 5. Well, there's 5 of them, including the special. It would take you about a few hours or so to watch all of them. They're quite good. But they're very good. I won't do this the disservice. They get better. I was looking at the viewing. People clearly, like 400 less people watched episode 2 than they did watch episode 1. I went, what happened? Where did you go? Yeah, check out Overton Audios, check out Doctor Expansive Multiverse, where we will be doing To the Last Man. No, that's the Torchwood episode. The Last Universe. Go check that episode out on Torchwood. It's on iPlayer, I'm sure. Go check out DW 2012. Go check out DW 2012, where we're doing obviously the Purple Doctor series for series 5, and Fraser pops up there and so on. Hopefully some more of those episodes will be coming out next year. Check out Instability Productions, who are doing the Moonlight Doctor stuff. Is that everyone? That's got to be everyone at some point.
Well, to be fair, I'm going to copy and paste most of that from your last talk, but I'll add the ones that you mentioned.
Sounds good. I think that's
The Last Man. This is The Last Man, which, to be fair, is a banger Torchwood episode. Absolutely love that one.
It is a good one. It is a fascinating story, and where Toshiko gets another love interest who will not be there by the end of the day. It's the radio. It's the BBC Two Dalek.
Yes, it's the BBC Two Dalek in which is unique colours. It's in the wilderness,
which has been done by Jimmy Wolfe, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Yes.
Yeah, so Jimmy Wolfe is also in TT Productions, and I've just been doing something for TT Productions. So go check out TT Productions as well.
Eamon mentioned that in his one. I've actually got one final question that I've just come up with. Is what Torchwood episode, if you had to choose one, would you watch at Christmas? None of them are really suitable for Christmas, but which of the ones is kind of?
You say that. Out of Time has a bit where they go through the year and there are Christmas trees and everything in it. So Out of Time is the only one set at Christmas, because they have a bit where they're setting up, they're putting up banners and stuff in their little paper chains and stuff, and they're with the tree and everything. And I think that's one of the guises of why Reese lets the young girl stay with Gwen and him, because it's Christmas and she's family and stuff like that, or something. So that's the only Torchwood episode that is actually set at Christmas. Other than that, of course, though, there are Torchwood audios from Big Finish, like the ones. There was a brilliant one called, I think it's The Crown, which had Queen Victoria in, which was a ghost story.
Yeah.
And I would say The Crown. The Crown was a really good little ghost story for Queen Victoria at Christmas. So check that one out. Only in Torchwood, of course. So I think those are the only Christmassy ones, really. I can't think of anything in season 2 that was particularly Christmassy, and then obviously season 3 wasn't, and neither was season 4. So yeah, Out of Time is the only Christmas one that I could say. Personally,
I'd say Countryside, because funny.
That's true, because it makes me happy.
Why didn't I come up with that punchline?
I couldn't. I'm Torchwood man. This is what I do.
You really are.
And I mean, it's I know. As a team, we got there. We'd be amazing together. No, that's a scene we ain't going there.
We're not going to that scene. Right. Anyways, with that final note, everyone make sure to subscribe, leave a like. Got a Ko-fi in the description now, but I've lost my credit card recently, which I should get back, and I should be able to fix it.
Get a SIM card, get a credit card. Ask someone for them for Christmas. Someone pickpocketed you. Oh dear.
I have a SIM card now, and I'm getting a debit card in a few days. So
I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
I'm reorganizing my life.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks everyone for watching, and bye bye.
Merry Christmas. Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.